First of all, we want to thank Apple TV Plus for giving us not only one of the most amusing new comedies on TV, but a show that we really need a lot right now. These are dark times, and this is a show full of unbounded optimistic spirit and joy and charm and so much humor that it's a delight discovery to everybody who discovers it, like Apple did, so much that you guys were just renewed for a third season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You just started airing, I think, in August? Already they've renewed you for a third season. You're supposed to be a team of losers, not winners.
No. Now we have to do all this more work.
I did not think this through at all. Oh, brother.
So, Jason, explain Ted to us, Ted Lasso, because on one hand, he seems to
the show or the character.
The character. On one hand, he seems the most ridiculous guy in the world, and at the next moment, he seems the smartest guy in the room. and the duplicity of that is a riot, of course. But explain him to us.
Yeah, I mean, Ted is an egoless cipher who, roams planet Earth, much like, Della Reese in Touched by an Angel, or Michael Landon in Highway to Heaven. It's the same. It's that archetype,
Aww.
He's just a person that comes into people's lives and meets them where they are, and I mean, it's a hard question to answer, to be quite honest with you. It's wonderfully open-ended, and I could pontificate till your server explodes. But yeah, I mean, he's a Midwestern guy. He's a coach from Kansas. His last sport that he coached was college football, and he gets hired to coach this professional soccer team in parts unknown. No, it's England. And while he doesn't know the sport, he does know people, and he understands that everybody's life is a comedy and a drama and a tragedy, much like, to co-opt the Mark Twain quote, another Midwestern boy, and that he, allows people to, he doesn't rattle easily by people's assumptions of him or his, his whims.
Let me introduce everybody who's here on screen. We have Hannah Waddingham as the diabolical Rebecca, and she'll quarrel with that issue later, I'm sure. We have Brendan Hunt here as Coach Beard, and Brett Goldstein as Roy Kent. And then we have the Derbyites here. It's Richmond versus the Derbyites. And guys, because we are the team of what we call influencers, super users. These are guys who have, I'm the editor-in-chief of the site, and these are guys who have emerged gradually over time through Gold Derby, through the message boards and through social media and the rest of it, and through their very high scores that they achieve at predictions, to be major voices and prophets in the awards scene. We have Rob LaCuria, and we have Matt Noble. In the middle, we have our new recruit, who is Nick. Help me with your last name. Rockrowd. Who, by the way, I just want you all to be properly impressed by this. We've had 70,000 people predict the Oscars at Gold Derby, and only one person ever got 100%, and that was
that'd be me.
Way to go, Nick. That's how smart we are.
Thank you.
So Nick, I'm going to give you the next question. Go for it.
Awesome. Well, I guess I'm a Midwestern boy myself. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So I guess going off your question, Tom, Jason, can you elaborate on that? And because I feel like I can be a really nice guy, but I feel like your character in Ted is like way over the top, would be laughed at on the street if he was that nice all the time. So was that a hard part to understand and to become one with in the show?
No, not really. I feel like you know, I mean, that may be the difference between Kansas City and Cleveland. Not to talk
Oh
shit.
yeah.
We have no sports team. I will tell you that.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that's true. I know you at least have an NBA team. Which we do not somehow, even though I don't know how that. We're working on it. But season 4, no, maybe. You know, I don't think being laughed at is a bad thing. You know, I mean, it depends how you respond to it. I mean, one of the big themes of the show is that things happen, and what you have control over is all you have control over. And so it's how you respond to being laughed at, you know? So in regards to at least Ted, it doesn't shake him at all. You know what I mean? You know, in the moments when he does stick up for people like Rebecca or various players, he mostly does it, you know, once they've, you know, maybe someone's been rude on, you know, in front of him, but not towards him. And that feels very, you know, look, I don't think chivalry is dead. You know, I think it might be, I think it may have slipped and fell and bumped its head, you know, over the, you know, the last few years. But, you know, he's just a guy that really wants to see that he sees the best in people. And so that, you know, if that gets laughed at, it says more about the person laughing, I think, than it does about the person that's being laughed at, for me, for my money. At this
Now
point,
let's compare Ted to Rebecca, who is the most diabolical, selfish, hilarious.
Oh boy.
What are you watching?
The whole show is based on your selfishness. You want vengeance on your ex-husband. But your character goes through these sudden shifts back and forth between great warmth and great humor and just bristling rage. It's hilarious. The scope. So Hannah / Rebecca, quite your character. I mean, because it is just you steal every scene.
Oh, you see that. You take away, then you give. Thank you.
That's the gold and the derby. That's there.
And I'm sorry, what is cooking?
Daffy Miss Waddingham.
Yeah.
You see, I mean, this whole thing that she's like some Darth Vader, I just think is absolute nonsense.
Go on.
Go on.
We meet her at a point when she is absolutely made of the thinnest veil of ice, covering an absolute hot mess. Her heart has been taken out and smashed on the floor, and she is trying to find some semblance of getting on her feet and moving on. She doesn't even, she has wanted to be a businesswoman, but she doesn't know a thing about what she's doing. And the only place she's gone to is to try and get some power back, some control over her own destiny, her heart, her mind. And all these things are coming into her eyesight. And I just think we meet somebody that is utterly floundering. It makes me even emotional talking about it. We meet somebody that is floundering and not knowing what to do with herself, with any relationship. And there she is, you know, at the bow of this ship. So I think she's wildly misunderstood, my friend.
I agree with that.
Well,
and
yeah, it's even more impressive when she, you know, dresses you down like that and she's standing. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like,
but at least she likes it, you know.
But like, she was even more intimidating than her Game of Thrones character, Septa Unella, right?
Yeah.
So like, I was like, I just wanted her to say shame, but then after a little while, I was just amazed at how much I really was rooting for her. Like, she was kind of horrible at first. She was a woman scorned, but then you turn. Like, I was watching this with my wife, and you were bringing her to tears because it's like you were really broken, and your character was, and that was really, really refreshing to kind of watch that journey. Don't you think?
Well, I have to say, more than anything for me, it's so refreshing. And I said this to the guys, to be, you know, nearly 6 foot in my stocking feet and and to be given the chance to play the fact that I don't mind saying to anybody, I'm a 46-year-old woman, I'm a single mother, and it's not great sometimes. But people presume because I walk into a room and I'm nearly 6 foot tall, they think she's got all her shit together. And actually, there's a huge vulnerable side that I feel like I had the opportunity to lend to Rebecca, because people see you as one thing and you're very much another. Just because you're a strong person physically, mentally, doesn't mean you haven't taken a battering elsewhere and you're just trying to get on with it. So to be given a role where I get to literally, not even across the whole series, but within a scene, to be able to ebb and flow through it is, I mean, I just don't imagine that I'm ever going to get this again, because it doesn't happen with women that look strong on the outside. You don't.
You're going to do season 2 and 3, right? Is this a negotiation?
No, I'm
What are
not.
you doing?
I
Bold move. Wow.
Jason, tell us right now, are you ever going to let Ted and Rebecca have a real love scene?
Oh.
Wow.
Because there is a moment in the final episode of where there's this confusing talk between the two of you that could be mistaken for a romantic conversation. And then you both pull back, and there are these moments where that you have such affection, strong affection for each other, and then pull back, and that's great character tension from great storytelling. But could it ever get to that place?
Well, I mean, Tom, what you're just saying is that we've created a hell of a piece of art, and I appreciate the compliment. That's all I'm hearing there,
It's true.
Monk's the scream. Is he screaming his brains out, or is he singing "Hey Jude"? I don't know. How do you look at the painting? I would never in 3 years tell you the answer to that.
Okay. So
in 3 years, you'll know. But I'm not being glib. I'm being protective of the sanctity of our incredible writers' room, and there's secrets in them. Well, formerly walls, now firewalls. And yeah, we're it's but I love the speculation, and I love to hear people's interpretation of it. I have a lot of friends who are musicians. And it's fun to speak to them and ask them, hey, what's that song about? And, have a buddy be like, well, what do you think it's about? And I think it's about this, 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 and this. And he goes, oh, I can see that. But no, it was just a song I made up when I was in Cologne, Germany. You can see it on YouTube. It's like, damn it. And I found that very thrilling, that we get to put, that's part of the, one of the things we shot for with the show is let people lean in. Let people make their assumptions and put themselves in it. So it's what we do in the writers' room. It's what we do for our actors. So the same philosophy extends to the viewers. So, while you might be curious about that, I know my boy Ruckkraut knows exactly what's going to happen.
He's never wrong. Never wrong.
And,
Apparently so.
I love that I love that it's this really close friendship, but I never imagined that they're going to be together. So Tom, I'm not on your side on that one, but I love the bond that they've formed over this season so far, because I think they've both also been with other people in the season. So I think they find something special in each other.
I will say this, and I think, and I believe we've spoken about this. I do believe they are soulmates.
Yes.
I like that.
I'm just being quiet because
which is also a show that Brett Goldstein created, which is, I know that's not what we're talking about here, but that's just...
Now, Brendan, let's talk about your character. Brendan, your character follows. Are you going to marry Ted?
Good.
You love the answer to that, but everything's on the table, my good man.
You love Ted so much that you followed him from Wichita, Kansas, all the way to Britain for this job, and then have this kind of amazing scene near the end where you just kind of just get fed up with this relentless optimism of his, and you have this great scene, great showdown, and you just walk out. If you've known him that long and that well, why do you suddenly say, I just can't take this?
I guess because there's two reasons, I think. One is that, we're in a different circumstance here than we've ever been in before, where we're usually in a collegiate situation where, there's more stock to be put into the notion of just trying to help these folks be better people. But the other situation, the other part of it is, I think that this is a role in, this is part of Beard's role in this relationship. There's like a circadian rhythm to it where Ted will do his thing this way for so long, and then finally the only person who can, speak truth to Ted's power is Beard, who grabs him by the collar and says, "What the fuck are you doing?" for a second, and then everybody's fine again, and in a year it'll happen again.
Yeah.
Everyone needs that kind of friend too, I think.
You do. Yeah.
The strong silent type. It's an archetype as old as wine. It's the cork.
And my God, that's
it is.
And Brett, let's talk about
your
character. Your character, Brett, is this guy who knew exactly what he was getting into when he went into sports, that he would reach a certain age where he would no longer be, that it would be a brief age, that there would be a cutoff. And the character faces it explosively all season, or at least the last half of the season. And personally, I'm just wondering, from you as an actor and a person, how much do you sympathize with this situation, and how much do you say, God, is this guy being a jerk?
Oh, I only 100% sympathize with it. I have no negative. I mean, I completely sympathize with it, but I also think it's sort of universal, isn't it? Like, part of the tragedy of Roy is aging. Is like, there comes a point where you have to accept your body can't do the things that you would like to carry on doing, and we hadn't. Jason and I sort of talked about it early on, that I think with Roy, his plan was always play football until you can't, and then kill yourself. Like that, there was no real thought, because he started so young. He started when he was like 6, and when you're 6, you don't think, well, at some point I'm not going to do this. There was no kind of, and then I'll do something else. And I think at the beginning of the season, he's like, this is it. Like, at the end of this, I don't know that there is anything else. But because of Ted and because of the world that kind of opens up to him, there is a light and there is a somewhere else to go. But I fully relate to that idea of, I mean, look, me fucking doing this job.
language.
What?
Language.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's better. More language.
I think you should pull a David Beckham, just like become super rich and have clothing lines and Mercedes cars. Do all that.
Marry a Spice Girl. Yeah.
That's what
I wouldn't mind that.
Matt, what questions do you have here?
I guess something to ask you guys, talking about sympathizing with characters and stuff like that. Which one of you is most like your character that you portray on the show, and why is it Brendan? No, I'm joking.
I can tell you it ain't me, because I am loquacious in real life. I am hey, Brendan, get it. Why don't you sit down for a few minutes and let somebody else talk? That's really more my style, as opposed to the one word per scene economy of Beard. So I decline. I'm out.
But I will say that if I had to phone a friend either from jail or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it would be Brendan. Like, Brendan is who you want on your pub trivia team. He's who you want on your charades team. He's who you want on your, he's in like a remarkable
Human being.
He reminds me of my dad, and I say this in the kindest way. My dad is one of the all-time greatest +1s. Like, Brendan is like if you bring Brendan to something, you're gonna have a group of people when you go back to them without him be like, where's Brendan? Like,
that's so nice.
we invited you hoping Brendan would come, and I think that's very much Beard's essence.
You want him on your want him on your cast. You want him in your writers' room. You want him in your on the producers,
influencers.
Yeah,
hootenanny. I don't know what you guys are calling it, but
whatever that is. Yeah,
use it.
Hootenanny.
Tell us some fun stuff that you don't see on camera. Are there any incidents of disaster behind the scenes? You know, sets falling down, rainstorms that disrupt.
It's on doorways.
Oh yeah,
that is on camera.
Yeah, in episode 110, after Rebecca gives Ted a pep talk saying that,
cause confusion.
Yeah, to cause confusion, create chaos. When I Jason left, I think it was like the third or fourth take, and I was just wound up and mostly just trying to make Hannah and the camera people
he were an absolute mentalist that day.
What'd you say?
You were an absolute mentalist that day. I was like, something's going to go horribly wrong in a minute. Oh, it has.
Yeah. I wish you would have told me that ahead of time. No pun intended. But yeah, when I jump up, I kick the door, and I know exactly what was going on in my head. Like if you were to rewatch it, I jump up and I think, oh, I'm going to kick the hell out of this door. I'm going to try to kick it off, like just with enthusiasm. And I realized, oh wait, no, that table in my head, this all happened in like 1 second. I was like, oh, that's a glass table. I don't want to shatter it, so I'll just leap forward more. And in doing so, I banged my head like right where your headphones would go across. And I split my head it was like, 2.5 inches.
Oh my God.
And it was, and it's the take that we use. You see me hit my head, I roll down, I get back up, I say I'm fine. I go down these stairs, which aren't real stairs. They go just to there's only 6 stairs there, movie magic. And I look down, and blood is just dripping down into my hand, like pooling in my hand. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then they had to give me a whole man, woman, camera, stick test. And they glued my head shut. And then we turned the cameras around, and we did Hannah's coverage.
There for my coverage, my eyeline. I was like, "You're a lunatic. Go home."
And just to say, when that happened, I was watching the monitors with one of our producers, Jeff Ingold, and Jason hits his head, and we all kind of laugh. And Jeff Ingold goes, "Is he all right?" And I was like furious at Jeff for doubting the master of physical comedy that is Jason Sudeikis. He's no Alfonso Ribeiro, but he's up there. And
Thank you.
Of course he did that on purpose. Let me go check. Yeah, run over to Jason, and there's a pool of blood at his feet. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
That was. Oh, sorry. What are you saying?
Go, Jason!
What commitment!
It looks really good. It looks like you're seeing that moment though. When we're on your side, your response to it is friggin' remarkable. Ow. And then another one that I think is worth mentioning is, we shot a lot of the soccer stuff, especially everything from 110, the game against Man City. And Brett was there. I missed the first night because we were doing stuff at the studio, but they were shooting that. And I mean, Brett, it
was brutal.
It was brutal. It was like freezing, literally. Right? It was
like I've always thought I always get annoyed when actors complain, when they made The Revenant and they were like, it was so hard, it was so cold, we were so cold, and I always think, you were paid and you're fucking happy, what are you moaning about? And then we did 2 weeks in shorts in winter in torrential rain, and I thought, this is worse than The Revenant.
That's gold.
Of hypothermia.
Yeah,
one of them.
Like Stefan.
Yeah, one of the guys died.
Our friend,
we
lost one fella. And we didn't get the dedication in the credits because the last episode was so long.
We were going to put it in the blooper reel, but then we had no blooper reel, so we didn't use it.
Yeah, because we never messed up. No blooper reel because no one ever messed up.
Well, yeah, even
Jason, you came up through improv in Second City and all that stuff. How much improv goes on the set here, or is it invited? or is it tolerated, or is it forbidden?
I mean, I'm not too cognizant of it because I'm given more free reign, I think, than most people. Because but I'm also for me, improvisation as something to use and rely on. I've kind of I use this example all the time, but like having done it, having been around people doing it, I always feel bad for the boom operator. A guy or gal that has to hold something up for that long, and then someone's just making all these lateral moves, and I'm just thinking about them just being like.
I mean, hold on a minute. No.
There was never a boom operator. There's never a boom operator. I don't know what she's about to say, but we were wearing lobs. Hannah. I don't want to hear it. Nobody cares.
In front of my desk. He's in front of my desk when he's doing his like left leg, right leg. That one's better than the first. And I just thought, oh my God, stop talking.
But,
and there was occasionally something.
No. Which way? Which one was the? What was the third? The one hanging?
I just thought, oh my God, it's such a pressure when you, as a fangirl, you want to watch the person that you think is great just ad-libbing, and then the Rebecca in me that had to shut him down. It's hard because you think, oh my God, I don't want the responsibility of shutting him down when he's just about to come up with something fabulous.
But in that specific defense, that's about pushing. That's about being annoying, and so. Versus my point, Tom, that I'm making is like the content, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brennan and Brett, but I mean, there was a lot of fast rewriting and rewrites on the day and stuff and choices, but that those instances that Hannah's talking about, yes, 100%. And that's me bumping my head was improv. It didn't say jump up, and kick the door. But those are all motivated by what the scene desired versus coming up with new content. So there is a distinction there. I'm not just like rattling off, freestyling jokes. And maybe if I am, it's because, we're on a different take and like it helps zip up, get the room going again and, energy wise. But for the most part, a lot of us were, saying what was written. Am I wrong? I can't.
Yeah. And to that end, long ago, before we even, like in that period between, the two commercials we did and trying to make it a series, me and Jason and Joe Kelly, we're all from an improv background. We love it. And I was like, oh yeah, we're going to have Jason just improvising. It's going to be great. But Jason, to his credit, very early on, even that stage was like, every word has to be scripted. We have to have every word scripted. We're not going to rely on improv. We have to have a solid foundation. And if we add on top of that once we're there, that's fine. But this show will not be made out of improv, as much as it may look up like it is, because we're certainly having fun regardless.
I forgot about that.
I think
I sound like I'm a real dick.
Yeah. A question I had was in Ted's first scene on the show. He says that taking on a challenge is kind of like riding a horse. If you're comfortable, you're doing it. You're probably doing it wrong. What's been the most uncomfortable moment in putting together Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I'm sincerely thinking that's a mustache twirler. I mean, here, straight up, having a belief in something that's invisible, and having to navigate the forest of, understandable, I don't want to say doubt, but concern, because it existed when we did the very first commercial. Brennan and Joe and I, we'd go film a bit of Brennan and I improvising, on the Tottenham Hotspur training facility, and then they'd say, our director Marty would say cut, and then he and I would go into a Sprinter van and continue on our game of Tiny Settlers of Catan, and outside the van were a bunch of people that worked for NBC Sports and the production company and my manager being like, okay, what are they doing next? They never handed in a script. What's going on? And elements of that happen, time and time again. But as we kept doing it, it became more and more clear to the people making it, and it became more and more clear to the people that were paying for it and to the people we were making it for. And luckily, the audience got the final version of it, and it was, that which we were attempting to do was no longer invisible. It was visible, and so all those concerns, kind of went by the wayside. If that's, appropriate answer.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So it wasn't having people. So it wasn't having a crowd of people screaming wanker at you. That wasn't the most uncomfortable part of the show.
That's a joy. No, but I mean, but Matt's asking for the hardest thing. Certainly the weather, certainly the schedule. But boy, oh boy, I mean, it's fun as hell to get to do something that you love and you believe in with people you care about and enjoy hanging out with. And so, what a neat job. And it's like that. It's not. I've had shitty jobs. I hope to have more somewhere down the line that pay a great deal of money. But for right now, I get to do what I love and do it how I love it being done. Nothing. And this is just me talking. I can't speak for the other three, but that was the hardest thing. Otherwise, it was a joy from soup to nuts.
I mean, I think that's really good that all of us are like, oh God, what was a hard thing? Because it feels like an old school proper company of theatre players.
By design. By hopeful design, I would say. Again, that you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean the product of it. I don't want to sit here and S our own Ds. I'm just saying the intentionality behind the show is exactly what people are picking up. Is exactly what we talked about, what Brendan and Joe and I talked about. Is exactly what I pitched to Bill Lawrence. It's exactly what when Brett got hired. It's exactly what I told Hannah in her audition to down to her spitting, doing multiple takes of me spitting in her face, pre-COVID. Obviously, we'd only get 10 now versus 20. But we got it on the first one. I didn't want to tell you that, Hannah, but we used the first one. You know what I mean? So it's
I could put some of that in a pot and sold it on eBay.
Yeah, little did we know. Yeah.
Nick, we're gonna give you the final question here to wrap everything up.
Oh my God, I have so many for everybody. I guess what I love about the show is that every single character has to deal with loss in their own way, and that kind of turns the show into a comedy dramedy. And Hannah, I know you have a musical theater background, so I feel like you might be more seasoned to this than the other comedy actors in the show. So I guess, how did you all deal with this? Was it difficult? Or was it just fun having these heartwarming moments mixed with these laugh out loud moments as well?
Well, I mean, yes.
I'm sorry. Was that?
Who was that question for? Hannah.
All of you.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Brad.
Well, it was a joy. It was a truly dream job, and that is sort of annoying to say because I wish I had more dirt for you, but it was a dream. It was really a fucking great time, and the best part I've had, and the writing and all of it was wonderful. But you mentioning Hannah in musical theatre, getting Hannah to sing into our faces was
absolutely love that.
Heck of
it did not happen.
A heck of a day. And then to top that off with Brendan singing and dancing on a table, Hannah singing, what a day at work that was. I mean, people should buy that as an experience, you know what I mean?
But just to be clear, that was not the order of the RO. Hannah did not open for Coach Beard, nor would she. What's that?
Now I always want to.
I should be so lucky.
I mean, I love that we tried it, and that we, like, by at least you four gentlemen's measure and our own four, us eight in here, feel like we, kind of got away with it, and because I do believe that's what life is. I think it can be hilarious and heartbreaking within 2 seconds, and you don't need like antics and contrivance to find the joy and drama in any given moment. It's within any of us, and so then it becomes exponentially bigger by each person you add to a scene. A singer-songwriter can go up on stage and make you laugh or make you cry. When you audition for a theater school, you do a monologue. You don't do dialogue, you do a monologue. It's like, and that's because everybody has that within them to do that, and everybody just really listened to each other and took care of each other, and it started again in the writers' room. It was evident in interviews when hiring writers. It was evident, I know for me, when asked to do this, that it was like, oh, it's okay, Brendan, Joe, and then who else do we get? And then Bill Lawrence, who walked that tightrope himself, I thought, in a wonderful way with Scrubs, made perfect sense. And then everybody just gave a damn. There's no competition. There's no opponents in making art. It's apathy and cynicism. And like, you just sort of, have to face them every single morning and every single night and just kick their ass. And you kick their ass on behalf of each other. You kick their ass on behalf of the work. You kick their ass on behalf of your soul and your heart. And, we got 2 more seasons to do it, 24 more episodes to do it. So like, let's, may we hopefully still do it. But I do like the fact, because musicals do that, Nick. I'm with you. Musicals have the ability to have a really funny scene and then go right into a song. Something like La Cage aux Folles is exactly that. It's the Birdcage with kick-ass Jerry Herman tunes, and they can break your heart, and they can make you laugh, but at the same time they can also, depending on where you're at, not
bizarrely though, you were saying about my career in musical theatre. As you were saying that, I was thinking the irony of that for me is that it's taken me to step away from musical theatre and meet these guys to give me that in a role. It's something that I've never experienced on stage, and I had only had knowledge of 3 or 4 episodes. I had no idea where Rebecca was going in season 1. So it was an absolute joy to play, because like I said before, I just didn't expect it to go like that at all. So to 1 minute be saying something silly, funny, and then her whole life falls apart. It's been the thing that everyone I know from all walks of life, all different ages, have just said. In fact, I was saying to Jason the other day, my dad rang me and was overcome. He's 80 and he was overcome, saying, I've never seen something where I'm laughing, then I'm crying, and then I'm laughing again with the tears still rolling down my face from 2 seconds previously.
Yep.
That's a good wedding or a good funeral, right? I mean, like, you know what I mean? When one person gets up there and then says, the best man says a killer speech, and then the maid of honor comes up and just shits the bed, and you're just like, holy smokes. But I mean, like, 4 weddings and a funeral, the writing of Ron Shelton, Nora Ephron. I mean, Aaron Sorkin. These are, aspirational things that we are all of the age and the generation that were moved by it and motivated by it and aspire to be, and that they set those kind of geniuses. And I'm missing 100 more that make you want to make stuff like that and something like that. And I mean, even down to the use of Let It Go, like, they don't give that song up for anyone. But when they saw the way we were using it and that it wasn't used as a joke, I mean, Hannah, you got that incredible message from the writers of just like the writers of the tune.
Wow.
Just crazy. I mean, given the fact that Jason will tell you, I was rallying against the use of the song, because I was just like, seriously, I've avoided singing this song in every concert after 5 years. You've got to be kidding me. And he very coolly went, okay, didn't you? He was like, okay, go off to your dressing room and see if you can find a song that's more perfect for like the Venn diagram moment of that that part of the show, and I was like, I will.
Let me have the final word here. We have to wrap up.
Sorry.
We have to wrap up here, but I think what makes the show so extraordinary is there's a lot of pressure on showrunners and show people like you to deliver TV programs full of cynicism and dark wit at the end. Yeah. And what makes this show so remarkable on so many levels is its unabashed heart, its belief in humanity, its hope, and its unflinching optimism that I must say, as a viewer, jarred me at first, and then I didn't quite believe it. And I thought that's just one episode, and then it happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again, and there's just such an inspiring feeling at the end of every episode of this remarkable show that you do, that we, as predictors, think you're going to do very well at the awards coming on, and with a contract renewing for 3 years now, that means you're going to win a heck of a lot of awards, and you'll deserve good luck to you all, and thank you for joining us.
Can we take the cash? Can we just get the cash?
They're just gold plated. Thank you all.
Thanks,
thank you.
Thank you for the
Thanks so much. Yeah,
appreciate it.
Great show.